Everyone has a camera on their phone, and every little mistake, whether you're an officer, a firefighter, a plumber, it could all be documented now.
Yeah.
Everyone makes mistakes.
Well, yeah, it's not a little mistake though. Let's be fair. This is a big
Someone
mistake.
could have died.
Somebody could have been seriously injured. The incident is serious. The actions or lack of action is very serious, and the investigation could result in discipline charges. But again, being somebody who was an officer who's been involved in trying to apprehend somebody with a weapon close, adrenaline is pumping, mistakes are made. It's not an excuse, but somebody like myself who can appreciate the context, you can kind of understand how it happened. It shouldn't have happened, and thankfully nobody was injured. But the officer will be penalized if, in fact, the investigation shows that there was some negligence.
Okay, so what's next? I mean, what exactly do they go through in an investigation like this?
Well, the chief will have an internal investigation. They'll look at that video for sure. That's very telling. Speak to the other officers involved. Speak to the officer who was the one that did not put the car in park, and they'll make some sort of assessment. Is it a training issue, or is it just one of those situations where arrests? Things can go from 0 to 100 very quickly, and unless you're in that situation, it's hard to understand. But having said that, there's no excuse for what has happened. Again, but on the other side of that, I see how that could happen given the dynamics of the situation.
All right, CP24's crime analyst, Steve Ryan, thanks a lot.
All right.
It's 5:13, 10 degrees.
All right, so I want to call Daneo. Hopefully y'all can hear.
Yes, sir.
All right, give me 1 second. I want to get you right to the microphone here, but we're recording now.
Okay. Can you hear me okay?
I can hear you good, brother. I can hear you good. First of all, I want to thank you so much for coming on Therapy Hub. It's been a long time coming. You were on one of our very first episodes, if not, I think it was the second one for our grassroots podcast with St. Jason. And here you are now
Yes, sir.
on our webcast. So thank you so much.
No, thanks for inviting me on, bro.
No problem, no problem. So one of the things I was discussing before I called you was pretty much, the loss, of the Blue Jays of the game, and some of the effects it caused us, because, some of us are true fans, even some of us that are not true fans, being from Toronto, being Torontonian, losing this game was very heart crushing. And some of us, it took some time to get over. And I know some people personally that even work for the Jays. I'm not going to say their name, but they are like not even, they're offline. They don't even want to be heard because of what happened. So I kind of thought that we could talk about it and share your reaction to that game. Maybe talk about, first of all, you being a Blue Jay fan and how much it meant to you being in the World Series.
Yeah, man. Well, first of all, I gotta say you're kind of bringing me out of a similar woodworks that some of your other friends are still in, because I don't feel like I'm completely over it, and I don't think there really will be such thing as being completely over it. I think one of the first things we got to do whenever we're dealing with any mental health battle, no matter what it is, a deeply personal one, or your team losing the way we did, is to remember that, in my opinion anyways, getting over it isn't necessarily the correct term or the correct view. It's how to deal with it.
How to deal with it. That's the better word. Yeah, better term.
Yeah, like we've all suffered loss, and I mean real loss.
It's how we cope with it.
I've lost my father. I've lost friends. Like real loss, and I'm not over it. But you begin leading a new life where you've understood that now that you don't have that person, what is your new life like? How are you contending with life in a new way? And I know it's arguably a stretch or far-reaching to even suggest a comparison between losing a loved one and losing the World Series. But here's where I draw the comparison. And again, it really comes down to how you handle it. I'm a lifelong Blue Jays fan. Literally, the Blue Jays came into existence the same year I did. You know what I'm saying? I'm as old as the Blue Jays to the exact year, and I fell in love with the team as far back as I can remember, almost immediately. But I was 8 when we won our first AL East Division championship. So I was hooked. Like, my dad, who introduced me to pretty much all sports, was a soccer guy, having come from Spain. And when the Jays won the AL East in '85, I completely switched over to ensuring that there was no other sport for me. Like, it was all baseball all the time. I'm still a big fan. I have the Leaf game in front of me now as we speak, and it's funny because I couldn't even put on sports. This is literally the first time I've firstly really spoken about it or even gotten back into watching a sport. It's almost like when the Jays lost, I was like, when you get out of a relationship, you're not ready to date yet. Like, that's me. Like, I'm like, I want to cheer the Raptors and the Leafs. I'm just not ready.
Your grieving process, man.
Yeah, it's a grieving process. So to try to get to the point of what I'm talking about, I'm not over it. I'm dealing with it. And I want to be clear about,
good point.
One, being a long time and lifelong fan, this is my team of teams. I'm a Leafs and Raptors guy, but everyone who knows me knows Jays has always been and always will be my number one. I love the sport of baseball. I play it. I'm actually a softball captain of a team that's won 3 championships. Like, I've played since I was a kid. Like, I'm fully immersed in the sport as both, a player for fun, obviously not professional.
We share that in common, you and I.
Yeah.
I played baseball growing up.
So you get it. You know?
Yeah.
So you understand it's the sport and it's the team. The team obviously represents this city where we're from, and it certainly represents the country, being the only Major League Baseball team in Canada. So you just got to put all that out there to understand it before we even talk about the World Series. It's what's at play here, a lifelong fandom of the team, if I can call it that, a lifelong love of the sport. It represents not just the city, but the whole country. So there are bigger stakes here, I would argue, for the Jays than there are for any other team in Major League Baseball. But also,
Nice, yeah.
you have to look at the story over the past year. As a Toronto Blue Jays fan, we've spent the past 32 years not being World Series champions. It's been that long. And last season,
Even playoff driven, I don't even think we've made it to the playoffs for it's been
Oh, no, we
the
did.
last
We
couple
were
of
in the-
years we've made it to the playoffs.
Oh,
No, we did. Jose Bautista and Edwin and Carson, we've made it. Yeah, you're right. We've made it a couple playoff.
yeah, we were in the
playoff for us.
playoffs 10 years ago and 9 years ago, but we were also in the playoff just a couple of years ago. Like the Vladdy era made it to the playoffs over the course of, a couple of times over the past few years, but we've never won a game. We had a series, a wild card series against Seattle, got swept. A wild card series against Minnesota, got swept. A wild card series with Tampa Bay during the COVID years, got swept. So this year was literally the first time that the Vladdy era of the Jays won a game, let alone got to the World Series. And you have to also remember something I was just about to say. The Jays came in dead last in the AL East last year. So this is a team that, A, sucked last year, B, was, as a result, not expected to be a contender, to win the division, to make the postseason, let alone Game 7 of a World Series. So the overachieving of this team has brought such immense joy to the city, to the country, to baseball fans, even who aren't fans. They're like, what a team to watch. It's an extremely likable team, fun team to watch, etc. So all of these things are the stakes to discuss before we even get into what happened the other night. But to get to it, we're talking about Game 7 of a World Series. You cannot go any further in the season. This is the last game, winner take all. And to fast forward to the answer to your question, we're winning. The game is 3-0, then 3-1, 3-2, 4-2. It's a close game, but there's not a point in the game that the Jays aren't leading after that home run. And now we're talking about the 9th inning. And we bring in our closer, Jeff Hoffman, to close out the game. That's his job, is to close out the game. He's got the 8, 9, and 1 hitter. The 1 hitter is Shohei Ohtani. That's the guy that everyone's thinking, hey, if he's the last out of the season, how poetic would that be? He didn't sign with us. He signed with the Dodgers. We've been getting him out. We can do this. Let's just get these outs. He gets 1 out. The number 9 hitter, traditionally known as arguably the weakest hitter in any lineup, hits 1 out and ties the game. And so understand that
He's been a problem, though, for World Series playoffs, Muncy. Are you talking about Muncy?
No, it was Rojas.
Oh, it was Rojas. Oh, it was Rojas. Yeah, it was Rojas, yeah.
And he took that number 9 spot from Pages, who was not hitting anything all the playoffs. So good look on Dave Roberts, their manager, to stick in another number 9.
Yeah, and he came in as a veteran role, too, kind of like to,
Well, the point is here is we're 2 outs away from winning the World Series.
Yeah.
2 outs away. And so, of course, that leads us to the bottom of the 9th because the game is tied, so we don't win the World Series. And then over the course of the next few innings, because it went into extras up until 11, there were several opportunities for us to win. So I say all of this to say that everything leading up to this, and there's so much I'm leaving out, and we don't have all night to discuss, but there's so much I'm leaving out as to why myself and Blue Jays fans like me had built up such a huge sense of excitement, joy, and expectation from a team where originally there were no expectations, and we were right there on the cusp of doing it and having the most dream season come to fruition with a world championship. So it's not just losing. As I was discussing with my mom, she's like, it was just by 1 run. But I go, it's not about the 1 run. It's how the 1 run difference came about. And when you're that close to a championship several times over the course of several innings, it's brutal. it's a shock to the system. It's a shock to your psyche. I was stunned. I was numb. I felt gutted, devastated, empty, sad. And it's still feelings that I have within me, but I'm attempting to say all of this to get to the answer of how I'm dealing with it. So the way I'm dealing with it is to remember, and this kind of goes full circle to what I was saying as we began this conversation, or as I began to answer your question with my long-windedness, and that is to remember what true loss is, what pain from loss is, and that is the absence of joy. In other words, we would never feel this devastated if there wasn't joy that we once had that we've now lost. So again, going back to like losing a person that you love, a loved one. So if you never grew up, say in my case, if I had never grown up with a dad, then his passing wouldn't have affected me. Right? Like I didn't even know him. But growing up with a dad and having a strong bond with him is what made losing him so painful. So ask yourself, would you swap? Would you swap out the pain you feel because you've lost someone with no pain because you didn't have that person at all? And I think pretty much everyone would say no, you would never make that swap. So in other words, last year was a far worse year for the Jays, dead last in the AL East.
Yeah.
And it sucked. But I would never swap years and go, I'd prefer last year to this because last year hurt less, but this year hurt. But this was was a much better year. It hurts more because of how close we got. So I'm trying to remember that the Jays brought us a lot of joy all year, and there's a lot of reason to believe they will continue to in years going forward. In fact,
absolutely.
I live with this hope and this confidence, actually, that the Jays have placed themselves as a top-tier team in Major League Baseball.
Yep.
So now, unlike last year, and I hope, obviously, this is a positive way to look at it, we're expected to make the playoffs. We're expected to hopefully return to the World Series. We're expected to win championships, and I hope that now that Vladdy enters year 1 of 14 of his big contract, that he is the face of the franchise and those who are surrounding him are poised to win multiple championships. So
we got Bieber said he's going to stay another year. Bieber said he's going to stay another year. And to remind you, the game's
perfect example of what I'm talking about.
Yes, the guys want to stay, man. They want to stay because they want that extra. They want to play that extra year to win. They want to win this year.
Absolutely, and they feel they can do it with this group, and I think they can too. I think they've proven that.
I think this group reminds me of the 92, 93 Blue Jays, exactly like the Pat Borders and Roberto Alomar eras and John Olerud. Like they just have that type of team chemistry, and they love playing with each other. And it's more of a family, it seems, more than anything.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting you make that comparison. I think I relate them to the 2019 Raptors, and I say that
okay, nice,
like the 2019 Raptors, no one expected them to make it. No one chose them as the champion. I was hoping the comparison would be perfect and that we'd win the championship, but they were a team that no one was really respecting even before the playoffs and certainly during the playoffs. I remember when they went down 0-2 to the Bucks and then came back. Reminded me of the Mariners series. We went down 0-2 to the Mariners and came back. So there's a lot of what you said, chemistry that makes this team great outside of what's on paper. On paper, people were like, the Dodgers are going to sweep the Jays. They have no chance. But, man, they have a tenacity and togetherness that really made a difference. And to your point, with Bieber re-signing for arguably less money than he might have gotten in free agency, I think that there's going to be other members of the team, fingers crossed for Bo Bichette, certain players.
He's a free agent this year, too, man. I hope we keep him. I love Bo, man.
Well, I think the point is that this group appears to be one that wants to stay together, so maybe over and above a much more, lucrative contract, we're looking at a team who's right on the cusp. Literally, they were right there of winning the World Series and can, and God willing, will do it if the core sticks together. And who knows, maybe a few more pieces that really set them. I mean, we did it without Santander.
Yeah.
We did a lot of it without Bo. Bo only got to play in the World Series, was injured for the rest of the playoffs.
Exactly.
We did a lot without what was expected of us in terms of the overall lineup and the health of our players. Like Santander was just a non-factor. And him at full strength, God knows, man, what this team could be. And now that we have certain dudes who turn from minor leaguers to bona fide major leaguers like Barger, Clement, Lucas, Schneider, definitely a Savage.
A Savage.
Those five were just in the minor leagues. They all overachieved this year.
That's right, man. Big round of applause. Big round of applause to the Toronto Blue Jays this year. They did a huge.
I had to say that in my post. Now and forever, let's go Blue Jays.
Yeah.
It is painful, and it continues to be. I am not over it, but all of this is how I'm dealing with it.
Yes.
That's my mindset with
positive
with
thinking, man. Positive thinking moving forward.
You got to. You got to.
Question for you before we go, okay? It's been about 5 to 6 days. What have you been doing since then?
Well, as I mentioned, I'll tell you what I haven't been doing. I have not been watching any sports. I watched 0 clips. I've been avoiding social media, seeing clips. I can't completely avoid it, but I've tried to, this might sound strange, de-Blue Jay myself a little bit for the purpose of just being at one with the loss.
Yeah.
We just weren't able to do it. So I've been highly focused on the other important facets of my life, being a dad to Melina, working on new music and projects that include the HEAL program, which is offered by Next Generation Arts. They just started up a new HEAL program, which is a songwriting and spoken word poetry workshop. I teach the songwriting portion of it. And in fact, it actually helps youth between the ages of 14 and 29 to contend with their own mental health issues through the arts.
I hope the youth out there are hearing this too, because what we're going to do is we're going to place a link in our bio. I think that you sent us the link. We're going to put that link in the bio for anybody that's interested, any youth between the ages, what did you say?
14 and 29. It is
14
free.
and 29. It is free.
Workshops take place on Saturday afternoons between 1 and 3. It just started and is going to run through February. So that's a big part of what I've been doing as well.
Absolutely, man. Yo, listen, Daneo, you are, as I said before your call, you're a mentor, and you're also a mentor of me. You've been one, and salute to you, hats off to you. Thank you for everything that you're doing, and thank you so much for taking my call today, man. I appreciate your time, bro.
Hey, man, thank you, bro. I'm humbled by the support and respect, and I'm here still hurting, but I'm here to help as well. So appreciate you calling me for this.
Absolutely, man. All right, man. We'll talk soon. All right, bro.
All right, bro. Be good. Peace.
All right, peace. So there it is, man. There's Daneo right there, man. And Daneo, I tell you, he is such an incredible human being. He does so much for the community. He does so much for hip hop. And I urge everybody to go out, listen to Daneo. And like I said, the HEAL program link will be in my bio. I believe he said it's ages 15 to 29. And that's for youth that are dealing with mental health issues and that need assistance and need some help with mental health issues. So big shout out to Daneo for his call, man. And I think that should sum up everything today on Therapy Hub. And I hope everybody takes today or takes what we spoke today and really apply it. And I like what Daniel said. It's not about getting over anything, because we can never get over anything. Healing, processing, and grieving is never about getting over. It's about dealing with it and learning coping strategies. All right. Thank y'all for tuning in. We'll see y'all in the next episode. Peace and love.